Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Um, I'll take some questions at the end. You all probably know me, but those know me as well. Well, my name is Greyson Durocher. I am a seventh grader at Lake Bragg Secondary School. My goal of this presentation and my Mitzvah project is to inform you guys on how you as an individual can influence change in current gun laws. Gun violence prevention is an extremely important problem, not just the adults, but the children of this nation. Every day, students like me see the effects of this violence. Walk through the halls, there are armed police officers watching people's every move. Another example is synagogue. The threat of anti-Semitism is so great, we have to have armed security guarding our entrances to make sure there's not an attack. My goals of this project are to encourage lawmakers to institute a universal background check for ammo and gun buyers, fund evidence-based community anti-violence programs like Ceasefire, and closing the loophole that lets people buy guns at shows and through private sellers without background checks. To show some statistics, the average number of gun deaths per year are around 44,000 gun homicides. Gun homicides take up 40% of the gun deaths, while 57% of those gun deaths are suicides. Another point of interest is that the US has about 4.4 gun deaths per 100,000 people, with the next closest being Chile with only 0.956 deaths per 100,000. Here's another graphic showing the cause of death in children in the year 2022. It shows that gun homicides take a much larger percent of the child deaths, surpassing cancer and motor accidents. Having a gun in the home increases the risk of suicide by more than 3 times, and an unsecured gun with a child in the house increases the risk to make that a mistake could happen and someone could get hurt. Did you know 58% of Americans will experience or will know someone who's experienced gun violence? How does this project connect to Jewish values? In this section of the presentation, I will show Jewish texts that support my mission. You probably have heard this verse a lot in connection to violence. This verse states that nations shall not draw a sword against another nation, but instead turn their weapons into tools for farming and productivity. This verse comes from the Mishnah Sanhedrin. This verse talks about how taking another human life is one of the biggest sins you can do. Can, can, then the Jewish value that this project connects to is the Jewish value of tzedek. This value is the value of justice. My project's goal is to fight for the people who have been affected by gun violence and not to abolish all guns, but to put sensible restrictions into place that keep the public safe from actual violence as well as the threat of violence. So what can we do? One of the first things you can do is contact your representative or senator to help move legislation. Another thing is safely securing your firearm and encouraging your friends and family to do the same. And then the last one is joining or supporting movements and organizations that fight for public safety measures. First one, to find your representative, you can head to this link that's in the chat, which I have also included in the action toolkit. In the chat, there will be a link to the action toolkit, which includes a sample script to write or call your representative. You can also find pre-written postcards in the lobby of TBS, which you can send directly to your representative. Overwhelming congressional offices with mail really helps. Please pick up a few of these postcards for yourself, friends, and family. I mentioned safe storage earlier. Do you know that locking your firearm and ammo leads to 78% lower risk of, of self-inflicted firearm injuries, including death? 85% lower risk of unintentional firearm injuries among children and teens. These stats show that locking up your guns is an easy way to reduce gun injury and death. You can find locks like this one or this one at fairbankscounty.gov, where you can get the location for free gun locks, which will help reduce the amount of injuries and death. In the chat, there are links to other organizations which I highly recommend checking out. If you can support these organizations, that would be greatly appreciated. These are some sites for the stats I showed in this presentation. And thank you to Rabbi Witzer and Ms. Ben Simon for helping the advertisement and supporting this project. And thank you to Ms. Eichel and Ms. Cohn for their help in spreading the message. And thank you for considering to reach out to your representative and supporting your mitzvah project. Supporting my mitzvah project.